So let me go on and send that message.
I got them going parking.
Bye. Focus up here, ladies and gents. Focus up here. Focus up here. Brandon, when Miss Davis gets back, can you let her in? Thank you. So up here, we're talking about distributive property in solving equations. So, like how I told Gavin, this seems like a shorter amount of work because we're just adding an extra skill. I already showed you how to do distribution. I already showed you how to do solving of two-step equations, but now we're putting them together. So, if I'm looking at this, the recall says simplify each of the following, bless you, expressions using the distributive property. So, I'm not solving anything here, I'm simplifying. So I distribute. So what am I distributing first? A 3. So 3 times x. Y'all agree?
Yes.
Then what do I need to do?
3 times 5.
Which is? So what goes behind this? Plus 15. And then? Plus 3x. Pause. Any questions there? Remember, this is just recalling what we did a few weeks ago. Does that make sense? What do I need to do from here? Combine like terms, which are?
3x.
So what am I typing into the calculator? 3 plus 3. Type that in for me, please. No, baby. They have to be opposite signs for that. They're both positive. What'd y'all get?
6x plus 15.
Is this in descending order?
Yes, ma'am.
Then that's the answer.
Oh, we wouldn't divide?
No, baby.
Oh, okay.
This is just simplifying, right? So it's distribution, if necessary, combining like terms. Good question, though. Looking at B, what am I doing first? I'm distributing -5, so what am I doing?
-5 times 2.
Absolutely. I need to know the step first, Etaria, and then we can say what we're doing, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's -5 times 2? -10. Absolutely. What am I doing next?
-5 times -10.
2 negatives make a? When we're multiplying and dividing. So what?
50.
Plus 50 what?
X
Perfect. What comes down behind that?
minus 10.
What do I do from here?
Combine like terms.
Combine like terms. What are my like terms?
-10.
And -10 again. So what am I typing into the calculator?
-10 minus 10.
Thank you. -10 minus 10. It would be the white button, 10, gray button, 10. Okay? White button, 10, gray button, 10. What'd y'all get?
-20.
-20.
So the 50x
Minus what?
20.
There you go. Is that in standard form?
Yes, ma'am.
That's the answer. Any questions there? Are we good at recalling distributive property? Okay. Now my next step says to solve. I have to solve the following equations. So if I'm looking at C, I have 6x plus 15 equals 39. What's the first thing I need to do?
Get the x bar, take the 15.
Take the 15 away. So what is 15 originally? Positive. So how do I get rid of a positive 15? Minus 15 on?
Both sides.
Perfect. Any questions there? So what's brought down?
6x.
6x. What happens to those 15s?
They cancel out.
They cancel out. What's brought down? Right behind it. Right here. Equals. And then what am I typing in?
39 minus 15.
Type that in. I'll tell you when. 39 minus 15. I'll tell you when. What'd y'all get?
24.
Y'all get 24? Perfect. What do I do from there to get x by itself? Divide by what? Perfect, because that's being multiplied to x to begin with. Any questions there? What happens to these 6's? They cancel out. What's brought down? X. Behind that? Equals. And then what am I typing in?
24 divided by 6.
Type that in for me. I'll tell you when. Type that in for me. I'll tell you when. Sarah, you know we all going to say it together.
Oh, yeah.
You okay? What'd y'all get?
4.
Any questions there? That's the notation we're looking for. The reason why I'm stressing that is because what's happening Friday?
We got quiz.
A quiz, a concept quiz, which means whatever we talked about from this unit so far. Anything is fair game. So looking at D, I have -20 plus 10x equals 30. What's the first thing I need to do?
Plus 20.
Plus 20, because that's my constant. It's negative to begin with, so what's the opposite of negative?
Plus.
So I add 20 on.
Both sides.
So what happened?
Then you do 30 30 plus write it 10x now. Equals 30 plus 20.
Typing that in, I'll tell you when. Typing that in, I'll tell you when. $30 plus 20. What'd y'all get?
50.
What do I do from here?
10 divided by 10 on both sides.
Because you're multiplying by 10 to begin with. Any questions?
Then write an x down.
Because what happens to those 10s?
Cancel out.
Then?
X equals
And then what am I typing in?
50 divided by 10.
Perfect. Y'all are doing great. Type that in. I'll tell you when. What'd y'all get?
5.
Any questions there? How are we feeling on the recalls?
Good.
Now, we're going to take those two concepts, put them together, okay? So which means you're still going to distribute and combine like terms first, and then we're going to solve. Does that make sense? So looking at this example with me, it says, what if equations had groups in them, meaning parentheses? Then we must distribute before we do that. So we must distribute before we solve. Remember, that's SAD, MEG, meaning subtraction, addition first, get rid of the constant. Multiply or divide to get rid of the coefficient. Any exponents, any grouping symbols come last. So this is the solve part.
What's the G?
Groups. It's just backwards, baby. That's Jim Doss backwards. So if I'm looking at this, I have 3x plus 5 equals 39. Do I see a distribution? Yes, what am I distributing? 3 into the x and to that 5. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what's 3 times x? 3x. What's 3 times 5?
15.
Equals 39 comes down, right? What needs to move first, the coefficient or the constant?
The coefficient.
No. The constant, which is what?
15.
That's why I asked you what constants were on bell work. Does that make sense? So 15 starts off what?
Positive.
So what's the opposite of positive?
Minus.
Negative. So we subtract 15 on.
Both sides.
So what comes down?
3.
What happens to those 15s?
They cancel out.
And then equals comes down, and we type it 39 minus 15, right? And that gets us 24. How do I get rid of the 3 in front of the x? Divided by 3. What happens to those 3's?
Cancel out.
So x is brought down, right?
Yes.
Equals is brought down. And then we say 24 divided by 3. That gets us.
8.
To check it, where do I plug this in for?
The x.
The x. So if I saw the x here originally, I'd plug it in for it there. So what I need you to do for me is type this in your calculator exactly as you see it, parentheses and all. Type that in to your calculator, parentheses and all. I'm going to show you all the extra work over here. Hang on real quick. 16 plus 5 that makes 21. Wait, pause. Disregard me, I'm about to fix this. What'd y'all get? Hang on real quick. Y'all are okay, I'm about to check this. Something wasn't right here. It's not y'all. That's because this should not be here. Disregard that 2. I was wondering where that came from as well.
Where we get 2 from?
Y'all are okay. Get rid of that 2. I think it was just a mistype. That happens all the time. There we go. They put a 2 in there for no reason. This is all the extra work, but again, I just want you to type this in. So it's 3 times 8 plus 5 equals 39. Did y'all get 39 when y'all plugged it in? There we go. See you later, Ms. Davis. So, any questions here? We good? Let's do some practices together, okay? So, looking at this, I have -4, 3 minus 7x equals 16. What's the first thing I need to do? Distribute what?
-4 to 3.
The -4 to 3. So that's the first thing I'm doing. What's -4 times 3 in your calculator? Y'all get -12?
Yes.
Perfect. What am I doing next?
-4
Two negatives make a?
positive.
So what's 4 times 7? Make sure you're typing this in. Typing this in. Remember, you do have a daily grade, and it's going to go in. What'd y'all get?
28x.
Perfect. What goes behind that? Equals 16. Looks like a two-step equation to me, right?
Yes.
What's my constant?
12.
What kind of 12? Do the signs matter? So how do I get rid of a -12?
Plus 12.
On, perfect. Make it positive or add it on both sides. What happens to those 12s? What's brought down?
28x
Behind that?
equals
And then what am I typing in?
16 plus 12.
Can you type that in for me, please? I'll tell you when. What'd y'all get?
28.
Perfect. What do I do from here?
Divide.
By,
28.
on,
Plus.
perfect. What happens here?
They cancel out.
So what's brought down?
X equals
And then what's being typed in?
28 divided by 28.
But they cancel out into what?
1.
Bless you. How do I check this?
Plug
You
in
do
1.
-4 parentheses 3 minus 1
Minus what?
7.
7.
parentheses 1 close parentheses
Uh-huh.
equals 16.
And you plug this part in, right?
Yes.
Plug that in for me, parentheses and all, okay? And Kylan, you were correct, baby. You substitute in. Plug that in for me. I'll tell you when. So type in -4 parentheses 3 minus 7 open parentheses 1 close parentheses another close parentheses.
Okay.
What y'all get?
16.
Does 16 equal 16?
Yes.
So is 1 the right answer?
Yes.
Any questions there? Bless you. Any questions there? Looking at B, I have -2x plus 4 equals 48. What do I need to do first? Distribute the negative. Isn't that property NP minus 1? So I'm actually taking what of all the numbers behind it? The, starts with an O. Opposite. So what's the opposite of -2?
5 plus 2.
X. Put that at the end. What's the opposite of 4? So it'd be -4 equals 48. But if you don't know that's a -1, probably put that 1 right there so you know what's being multiplied.
That's right.
Great. That's a great tool to use. So this is a two-step equation, right?
Yes.
What's the first step I need to do? Add 4 on both sides because that's the constant I have to move. So what's being brought down? What happens to those 4s? Behind that? What's being typed in?
48 plus 4.
Type in 48 plus 4. I'll tell you when. What'd y'all get?
52.
Everyone get 52? What do I do from here?
Divide by 2 on both sides.
Divide by 2 on both sides. What happens to those 2's?
Cancel out.
What's being brought down?
X.
And what's being typed in?
52 divided by 2.
Thank you. Type in 52 divided by 2, sweet angels, please and thank you. Is that what y'all got? How do I check this? Perfect, because that goes in the place of X. Mm-hmm. So I'm typing in this side, right? Type that in for me. I'll tell you when. Okay, what'd y'all get?
48.
Does 48 equal 48? So is 26 the correct answer?
Yes.
Perfect. Daily grade time. Any questions? Okay, you're doing 2 and 6. 2 and 6. Get that to me ASAP, please and thank you. You're doing 2 and 6. Not 2, sorry. No, yeah, 2. I like 2, yeah. Sorry, didn't want to confuse you. Story of my life. You'll never see me cry up in here. You must be crazy. So, looking at this, what's the first thing I need to do? Distribute, right? What am I distributing?
-2.
-2. Most of you did great about this. When it comes to distribution, y'all are pretty solid about that. So, what's -2 times A?
-2A.
-2 times 6? -12 equals
-22.
-22. What do I need to do from here? Add 12 on both sides, because that's getting rid of the constant, and it's already subtraction to begin with, so the inverse is addition. What's being brought down?
-2A.
Cross. Because those cross out. And then what am I typing in?
22.
What kind of 22?
-22.
Plus.
Plus.
Type that in, please. Please, please, please. Especially if you know that you were struggling on this. Is that what y'all got?
Yes.
What do I do from here? You have to divide by what? -2. Do the signs matter? Yes, some of y'all noticed I took off 0.25 if it was not positive or if it was not negative. I made sure to write it in for you and circle it. Any questions? From there, what happens to these -2s?
Cancel it out.
So what's brought down?
Equals
And what's being typed in?
-10 divided by -2.
2 negatives make a?
Positive.
When you're multiplying and dividing. So what's 10 divided by 2?
5.
Should have been 5. Jordan, make sure you're writing this down, baby. You need the correct work. We're trying to learn how to fix the work. You can't fix it if you're not writing anything. You can't improve if you're not writing anything. How do I check this? -2, parentheses,
Or 5.
in, there you go.
Plus 6.
Uh-huh,
Close parentheses.
equals
-22.
-22. So I'm just typing this piece in, correct?
Yes.
If you have not typed this in, please type that in now. That way you're getting practice. Type this piece in. A lot of people struggle with this. If you would have typed this in, you would have saw that your answer was incorrect. That's what the check portion is for, to prove your answer is correct or incorrect. What'd y'all get? Does -22 equal -22?
Yes.
So is the answer correct?
Yes.
You should have known that before you came up to me. Does that make sense? Use your checks. That's what I'm looking for as well. Any questions? Looking at 6. I have -5z plus 12 equals 18. What do I need to do here? What am I distributing? -1. So I'm actually taking the what of all the numbers? Opposite. So what's the opposite of 5z? -5z. What's the opposite of 12?
-12.
Equals?
18.
Perfect. What do I need to do from here to solve?
Add 12 on both sides.
Add 12 on both sides because that's my constant and it's negative to begin with, so addition is the only way to get rid of it. What's being brought down? -5z, because does that sign matter?
Yes.
Yes. Behind that?
Equals.
Because those 12s do what?
Cancel out.
And what's being dropped down?
18 plus 12.
So type in 18 plus 12 if you have not already. 18 plus 12.
30.
What'd y'all get?
30.
What do I do from here? By? Divide by what?
-5.
Do the signs matter?
Yes.
What happens to those -5s? So what's being brought down?
Z
Uh-huh.
equals 30 divided by -5.
Please type that in. We were dropping signs all over the place. I'll tell you when. 30 divided by -5. What'd y'all get?
-6.
I had a lot of people adding and subtracting right there. Let's not do that, okay? I circled it. If I put a question mark next to it, I was asking you what's going on here, okay? I still gave you credit because the majority of the work was correct. But please, make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing wrong, okay? How do I check this? What? Uh-huh. Yep. Uh-huh. Yep. Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I'm just typing this piece in, correct?
Yes.
Type that in for me, please and thank you. I'll tell you when. Parentheses and all. What'd y'all get?
18.
Does 18 equal 18?
Yes.
So is -6 the right answer?
Yes.
You only have 4 problems to do. Get them done and get it turned in.
I can turn it in.
You can literally turn it in today. I wouldn't say right now because you know there ain't no service in this room, Gavin. You know there ain't no service in here.
Well, I already finished it.
There you go.
Each doors. Everyone get grass with a glade.
Turn your stuff in.